Dave here, how are you? I'm a little bit late, maybe half a minute or a minute or so. I've come down to this end of the workshop because I noticed that last week when I was up at the other end, I just fired up 2 new lights, or old lights, that I've reconnected. And any time they got behind me, part of my hair disappeared. So if I go in front of the lights, you might see the kind of bits of my head disappeared. This is because of the resolution that the stream is running at the moment. Now, fingers crossed for me, Friday this week, I go on to NBN 50 plan. If it's not fast enough, I'll punch it up to 100. But I was talking to Vicky about it the other night. An upload of a 2 gig file normally takes me, can be anywhere between 7 and 20 hours, depending on how my internet is behaving. I'm hoping that it'll take 16 minutes when I go to the next level. Fingers crossed, everything goes according to plan. Now on the show today, and also I couldn't find my normal specs, so I'm going to have to rely on these old pair. Let me have a quick look here. I'll do a quick read down the side. Beautiful morning in Canberra, snow-topped mountains, beautiful. Brian, g'day, guys and girls. David, Lucy, good morning all. John Parra, good evening. Paul, good morning all. David, sound and vision is okay. Excellent. Thank you so much for telling me that. I didn't even ask. Come down to the front of the class. Tippo, good evening, morning. Mike, morning all. Dave, can't make after party today, family lunch. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. I'm guessing Mother's Day being next weekend for Australia. I think it's next weekend. We may not get many people for that one as well, but I'm hoping it's going to work well this week. Mongrel, g'day all, watching from the shed making French cleat tool holders. Good work. Ron, hi Dave. You got the power back on. Yes, I did. Good morning, Carbotech. Wayne Jones, fingers crossed. Thank you very much. Only you would have blue specs. No, I tell you what. Do you ever watch Bargain Hunt? Now, Tim, the guy that runs Bargain Hunt, always wears matching glasses to his bow tie. He's a card. All right, so on the show today, I was going to make a bow. Now, because I'm going to do a resin pour, I've pulled back from that because I don't want to create any sawdust. So basically the bow, it's very, very easy. I don't even know if I have to make it. You know, it's a piece of plywood that you bend and hopefully it doesn't break. A couple of cuts in the end to hold the string. You pull the tension on it and then you can use that for creating nice shapes. If you don't have a French curve, this one will give you a very kind of elliptical shape. So I might do that next week on the show. I might do it. And there's some tips on if you're going to use plywood, the best way to go with that. So that might be interesting for next week. So this week on the show, I'll get rid of this first thing because that's what I said I was going to do. Now also we've got David's version, not me, David watching, version of Steve Ramsey's timber cart. And I've got a 13-year-old Andrew's woodwork projects. How good is that a young guy is getting into it and having a great time with it and proud of his jobs. So he sent some photos in. We'll have a look at those. Fred's modest workshop and a couple of his projects and the resin on the chessboard. Now, before I get into the resin on the chessboard, I do want to talk about just making sure that my flyers are done up. I did one show and it was gaping open. I was thinking, very embarrassing. I haven't got the Stanton bench down here with me at the moment. It's up the other end. And I was going to talk about router lifts. So this is the one that I'm working on at the moment, and I'm very impressed with it, and I'm going to buy this one from Carbotech because they don't just give me things, I've got to buy them as well. So I'm going to buy this, and I can mount my Makita or my Triton in it. Now there's been some discussion during the week. See this guy here. There's been some discussion during the week about the best way to mount a router in a router lift. This one has its own lift design anyway. See down here, I'll do this as well a bit more next week, but down here you've got the fine adjust for the height. See, it works off this. There's a crank, comes down through the table, locks onto the top of that and makes this go up and down. But the problem with this is this switch has to be pulled across, disengaged, the router has to come all the way up to the top, and it locks the spindle. And then if you have it in a lift, you've still got to go back under the table, enable the switch, lower the thing down inside the lift. So there's a few people who are saying, I've wasted money by buying this thing. Well, if you have a look in the description box, this week I've put links for Australia and also for USA. They're my affiliate links for a CMT half-inch collet chuck extender, which makes this guy here come out past. So you bypass having to worry about all of the switches and everything downstairs if, that's only if, you have an external switch. So Carbotech have an NVR, which is a no volt release switch, which is very safe. And I'm thinking about doing that as well. See, when I do videos for them, I have to really focus on what's happening. It's not just, a couple of seconds. Yeah, throw a camera up. I spend days and days researching all this stuff. So that's why I'm doing it. And that's why I've bought one of those extenders for myself. And there's one other thing I want to tell you about. So that's a reason for the Triton. And why do I want to use the lift instead of the Triton standard lift? It's easier. I lock the Triton in totally and forget about it. Then everything is controlled from this lift. And one turn is 2 millimeters. So you've got 40 graduations around the crank. So that's 1/20th of a millimeter. And then it locks from the top as well. So Carbotech aren't the only company that make these lifts. There are other companies do lifts as well, like I think Woodpecker, who else? Incra, Carbotech, and I think there's another one or two. So I think they're basically all the same kind of thing. This one is in Australia, so it's nice to have something that if something goes wrong, I've got someone I can talk to straight away. So that's what that is. Now, also someone got onto me and said, oh, I've wasted all my money. I wanted to put my Makita in there and it won't fit. So here's what I did. I've got my Makita in there, as you can see. Now, I haven't taken it out at the moment, and I don't think you'll be able to see it. Now, look, I'll go through it all further down the track, but the thing is, there are 2 screw holes right in the throat of the Makita router, and they're designed to take a copy template, like a bush, Makita's own bush. 2 of the holes in this router lift plate line up with those perfectly. So you put your 2 screws in there to start, and all I did was drill, I don't know if you can see it, but if you can see on my base plate, there is a nut and a lock washer, sorry, a spring washer, I should say, and an ordinary washer. I drilled an 8 millimeter hole, went down via one of the holes that was already in the plate, in the lift plate, and then through a really meaty section. Now let me see if I can pick it up. This is it here. This meaty section here is for the fence to slide in. Well, I don't use the fence with this much at the moment. So I drilled through there, locked it on, and did that. Now people are going to say, well, why'd you have to do that? What a waste of money. That's 40 years old, that router. Give it a break. This is the plate. Okay, see it? See this screw? You might be able to see it. It's designed to hold the plate onto the router, not to hold the router up in a lift. Hence, these are things that you've got to think outside the square and do these. So that's why I'm getting the chuck extension, so I can use either of those, bring it up above the table to use 2 spanners above the router plate, use 2 spanners above it, and everything will be good. So that's what happened. I've been given a bit of a hard time on Facebook about that, so I thought I'd try and let everyone know how it was, why I did all this other stuff. All right, what's the time? 10 past. How about we have a look at a viewer? Not have a look at the viewer himself, you know what I mean? Like, have a look at a viewer's project. So what have we got? We'll start off, I've written a list here and we've got some stuff. Start with David. David Rowlands, and I'll throw David's picture up to start. Now this is his cart. I'm going to read, I've got to have a bit of a drink. Okay, Dave, I promised I'd send a photo of my rolling timber storage cart when I finished it. I followed Steve Ramsey's pattern on his Woodworking for Mere Mortals site. He also did a YouTube video in his entertaining style of the construction. He includes a cutting list and diagram, which is very helpful. Now, I'm not going to read that out. You can go to Woodwork for Mere Mortals, Steve's site, and have a look, and you'll find all the links there. Give me a second. I forgot to hit this button here. Done. Okay. Okay, so 2 pictures of my effort are below. So we'll go to the next picture. Is that one there. It takes more than 2 whole sheets of ply to make. The original is probably in 3/4 inch ply, but mine is in 16mm construction ply, which is what I had available. I made my major cuts with the Festool track saw. It did involve cutting a few trenches and some cuts at 5-degree angles. One of the vertical sheets is leaning in. So you can see at the back there, on the left-hand side, the side opposite the pockets, that leans back at 5 degrees, so your sheets don't go falling off. I'd probably take it a little bit more than that, but anyway, that's what Steve said to do. So you can see, I did the former with a 16mm straight bit Festool 1400 watt router and the Festool track. That worked remarkably well. The screws I used are all Robertson screws from Screw-It Screws in Melbourne. I can now support Steve Ramsey's contention that it holds rather more than you might expect, although I currently have it loaded with a lot of dodgy timber, disassembled items of old wooden furniture, pulled apart pallets and retired gates, as well as some half sheets and below of ply of various thicknesses and origins. I think this is a contraption that most of your other viewers could make good use of. David. Well, thank you very much for sending that. If you've got something like that, do it. Send them in to me. I'm reading down here again. Craig do make a router lift, but the thing is they make it for routers that aren't a plunge router. So it grabs a hold of the side of the router. You can't use it with these, with a plunge. See, this is a full mechanism. You can't separate the plunge function from the router's body itself. So when I say a plunge router, it's the same as my little DeWalt under here. I'll pull it up so you can have a quick look. See that guy? So if I undo that and then squeeze that and take it off, that section, you need that kind of a body, well, my kind of a body, this kind of a body to put it in the Craig lift. So, you know, there's lots of little things that I'll let you know if I find out about them. Or you can ask me questions and I'll do the research. Now I've got to get this rotten thing back in there. So Jeremy, you'll be very happy that I've just shown a DeWalt product. I've stuffed that up somehow. I'll take it out, put it to the side. That didn't go as well as I thought it would. The router goes great. It's actually a trim router. Anyway, I'll pop it over there. Where are we? Jessup makes some nice lifts. Indeed they do. Looks very good. I built the same one about 8 years ago. Make sure you use heavy casters. I was also going to suggest possibly I always put a little bit of 3x1.5, or what would you call that, in 75 by 32 or 70 by 32 pine around the whole thing, just to stiffen things up a little bit. Especially if you're making it out of 16 instead of 19. Of course, 19 is 19.05 is 3/4. All right. Let's have a look at doing some resin. I don't know what the numbers are like. I don't know if anyone's doing thumbs up. If you want to do thumbs up, that's fantastic. If you want to do thumbs down, knock yourselves out. That all counts towards numbers. And YouTube doesn't care if it's thumbs down or thumbs up. It's just me. That's all. So thumbs up is nice. I think it's funny that people think I'm going to hurt that guy. You know, I don't know why they do it, but they do it. Give them a thumbs down. It's actually helping. Let me see. Resin. Should we do the resin next? Why not? I've got a camera set up here as well. Craig won't accept the trimmers we have here, only large fixed base routers. Exactly right, Carbotech. The only reason I showed the trimmer was it's that style of router body, not with the plunge function. All right, Coke alert, yes. Well, it's not Coke. No, I've lost it. It's a no-name brand. You know, you still get 10 cents per can when you take them up to the recycled bins. It's amazing. Hi, Rob. Thank you very much. And everyone's going, we could give you a thumbs down. Well, it happens. It happens. Let's get stuck into this. I'll switch the other camera over. There we go. Can you see that? So down here, this is a chessboard that I'm making for Vicky's chess pieces. So I did this on the CNC. This is just a sheet of 16mm melamine. Try and say that, Nari. Timbercott sell the barrel body router. Do they? Right. Okay, so here we go. We've got this, and then what she's done, this is all engraved with the, I think I used a 90-degree quarter-inch bit, and it's just amazing. I love CNC machines. Anyway, got it all done, and let me see if I come over here. It might be a bit easier for you to see. And then, as I say, Vicky went around the whole thing with coloured pencils and coloured it in, like did all of these different colours. I think it's wonderful. So what I'm going to do is mix up some of this resin. Now, again, this stuff, I bought it. You know, you can get resin from wherever you want. Doesn't worry me. I'm going to mix up. This is a 1-to-1 mix. And I'm going to move things out of the way a little bit. I really don't like getting resin on things. And to help me with that, I'm going to see if I've got any of it up here. I normally have, here it is, found it, it's on the table saw. Baking paper. So this is really easy to use, this stuff, just from Woolies. So I'll use a couple of pieces. Nothing sticks to this. You can use it on top of clamps, like before you start to glue up. Throw this on top. Preparation is very important, because once resin starts going off or being poured, you really don't get a lot of second chance. You've got to move quickly. Pull that one over the top of that one. Got a little bit of an overlap there. There we go. Now my idea is to pour this 1-to-1 resin over the top, and I'm going to move it around with a skewer, because I can kind of screed it with the skewer and it should be okay. Now I'm going to mix, to get the area for this, this is around 500 by 500, maybe a little bit more, maybe 6 by 6, so it's 6 sixes, it's 0.36 of a square metre. That's the great thing about metric. You can work these things out in a couple of minutes. If it was 500 by 500, it was 5 5s, 25, it's 0.25 of a square metre. Now, this stuff I read on the side of the bottle of the, not the hardener, but the resin. It's got the coverage. So I don't know whatever bottles you use, whether the information's on both the bottles, but on this stuff, it's only on the resin, and there's a clear window down the side here. So I can see how much is left in there. This is 2/3 full still. So this stuff, 1 full litre of this will cover 0.6 of a square metre. So if we've got, what's that phone going on about? Did Vicky gesso the melamine first, or are you pouring straight onto melamine? Straight onto melamine. I did a test. Here it is. It's stuck fine. So that's on the melamine. The other side, you can see it's not reflective at all. This side, super reflective. That's got the resin on it. Okay. Are you suggesting I should gesso whatever gesso is? As I said, this is an experiment. State's called wax paper. The Wood Knight is a demo on the TimberCon Router 2. Good, Paul. You want to build my bench, Bob? Okay. First thing I do is throw the gloves on. Now, I was talking, as I tend to do a lot, about working out the quantity. So 0.6, it's about, that'll end up being about 1/3 of a litre. Now these two bottles mixed together, if they were full, actually comes to half a litre. So I'm going to kind of be a little bit ballsy and just go 1/3 of this bottle in each cup, or what? Instead of pouring it all into the one cup, I'll go to this camera here. Instead of pouring it all into one cup, like pour and then pour on top, because it's shaped like a V, a conical shape, you've got to be aware that there's going to be less in the top section than there is in the bottom to have the same amount of volume in each section. So I've got 2 of these. These are only cheap. So we'll pour them in. And I'm going to pour up to the segment. There, that'll do me. So I've poured it up to the little kind of serrated area with a grip part for your finger to hold on to. Maybe this camera. No, believe me, that's where I went to. Now the thing is, remember which lid goes on where. But this also has the advantage, this is white on white. This one, this is the hard nut, when you crack it open, it's got the rest of the ring is still on it. So you can't mix the caps up. It's a good idea not to mix them up. But I'm going to go to a second cup. I'm going to pour out to the same point. Done. Done, 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 done. Okay, Phoebe, we use melamine a lot for resin molds as the resin doesn't stick to it, but maybe a thin coat to cover will adhere better. This is not just your standard. This is perfect coat. This is a 1-to-1, so it's not their resin casting stuff. So let's see how we go. Now we also use resin in melamine molds. We find that it sticks to it unless we use a releasing agent painted on first. All right. Now they say to use a flat paddle. I'm going to pour the hardener into here. Now the best way to do this would be to decant both bottles, both directions, or both containers. But I think if I'm just very patient and let it run, it won't be too hard. Wax paper. Well, we also have another paper called greaseproof paper. That's how my lunches used to be made when I was wrapped up in as a kid, before Glad Wrap was invented. Cling wrap, whatever you want to call it. So this is actually baking paper. So it's to go in the oven. You couldn't put greaseproof paper in the oven, I don't think. Well, maybe you could. All right, so I need a paddle. I'm going to use a piece of plywood, and I'm going to stir it very slowly, but I'm going to give it a bit of curry so it doesn't deposit rubbish everywhere. All right, here we go. Bring it over here so you can see what's happening. Now they say to stir it slowly. What I'm doing, so we don't introduce too many bubbles. Otherwise I'd get the drill in there. And they say to do it for 4 minutes. It's 25 past the hour now, so I'm going to do this until 29 past. Just stir and stir and stir. So how's it been for everyone during the week? I heard there was an earthquake at Puerto Rico last night, or last night for us. It's funny, the information that we have at our fingertips, having breakfast and there's the news. Crazy. Can't wait to see how it turns out. Gesso essentially like a primer. Good luck and most importantly, have fun. Oh, Phoebe, I am having fun. We'll see what happens. Look, it is keyed in a little bit by the CNC work. Parchment paper, is that what they call it in the States? Yeah, it's just, you're sound asleep on one side of the world and you wake up and look at the bother everyone else has been having. They're talking about getting rid of these lockdowns in Australia or in New South Wales for the bug. Remember, we can't actually mention the name of it. It's got to be referred to as the bug. And I'm just thinking aloud. Phoebe, I was thinking about giving it a very, very light sand with maybe 400 grit paper. But we'll see what happens, This has also got a little bit of a dish in it, just the tiniest bit. So I'm also going to create a dam with masking tape around the outside. We're nearly there, 27 past. So is the stream coming through okay? It says it's dropped 259 frames. I think that's right at the beginning. John, watching a man stir resin for 4 minutes. People will think we're crazy. Yeah, my the joint between my thumb and my forefinger are also getting sore from holding on because it's not just water. It's got a fair resistance. What else has been happening in the week? Anything been happening in your lives? Must be something. Phoebe, I've been looking at your eggs that you've been turning on the lathe. They're looking fantastic. No adder. I'm probably supposed to wear a mask with it, but I haven't got it on. I could put one on. John, cling wrap or called saran wrap in the US. Dave's paper looks like that we call wax paper. Nothing will stick to it. Don't tell anyone, John. Okay, so what did John say? Okay, all right, about what time is it by you? It is 11:28. It's got another minute for you guys to suffer. Anyway, Phoebe, your eggs are looking fantastic. If you get a chance, Sticks and Stumps, they're doing some beautiful work. They started off, it's just a couple of kids mucking around in a plumber's corner of a plumber's warehouse. Now they've got their own workshop and everything, and they're hammering. They're having a great time. They're down in the Melbourne area. I can feel it starting to be better. Okay, I'm going to. I reckon that's enough time. 11:29. I'm going to slowly put this on there to start. And I did say I was going to put a dam, didn't I? So let me do that. Move that over there. Got some blue tape. Let's see how we go. I'm going to run this around the edges. Come on, you rotten thing. Now, Vicky has already painted this. I don't know what that was. So it's probably saying the Zoom meeting is starting in a short time, or at 12 o'clock. So for those of you who are my patrons, I've sent out an invite to this Zoom meeting, and it should be fun. Just a bit of fun. We'll all have a chat. It's one of the little quirks of being a patron. And I've put out invites before and it's gone to rubbish. So I'm hoping this time it's going to work. If you're one of the patrons, you need to I've probably sent you an email. If you haven't received an email, just go to the Patreon site and it should be, there'll be the link there and the password there. You just click on the link and away you go. I nearly got this dam. I should have done the dam first, shouldn't I? There you go. All right, tear that off and there. Got a little lip there. I'm pulling the tape onto itself to make it a little bit better bonding, a bit stiffer. So there's links and everything down in the description box. There's some affiliate links. There's links to get those things. Let me see. Great that New South Wales east restrictions are able to get to visit some friends in New South, even from the road made the dirt roads crap. Paul, sure has been wet in Box Hill. Rob, John, I first said wax and Dave started putting in the oven, so I said parchment. Okay, here we go. I'm going to start pouring the rest. Now the area that I'm on here at the moment is not flat. So I will be moving this very soon to another area. Now, apart from the Turner display that you can see behind me, this is the biggest pour that I've ever attempted. So let's see how. This is self-leveling and I can see it moving very slowly, but I'm going to give it a hand. Just go slowly. And hopefully it's going to give the stuff, stuff I've done with the CNC a nice gloss appearance. Now this isn't going to be super thick, it's going to just be a cover, a glossy cover over the top. When I finished doing all of this, I was going to use I change subjects all the time, don't worry about it. I was going to use the skewer to spread it out, but I think this is going to be a better system. The thing is, if I can get the wet surface all the way to the edges and in all the holes, my plan is then it might flow backwards a little bit, but if I can get it out to the edges before too much mucking around happens, it might save me a lot of grief. Now, there's something else that I'm going to have to do when I've finished. The last thing you want on this is dust. Oh, this is looking all right. Now, if I needed to use a primer or sand it, I can do that further down the track. I'll just peel it all off, making sure it's going into all of those holes. As I said on the info on the show, it's an experiment. Possibly should have used a larger spatula to spread it out, but I want a little bit of control. I don't want it to go over the edge if I can possibly avoid it. This is not looking too bad. Not looking too bad at all. Come down this side. Got a lot of time with this stuff. 9 hours, they say. Well, I've had to leave it 9 hours before I can touch it and not leave too much of an impression. And also temperature is very important. If it's too cold, it's going to stuff up. Are you all riveted to your seats? I don't dare look up and see what's happening on the chat because I don't want to stop. I'm enjoying myself. I'm enjoying myself too much. You've got a heat gun. You could use that to push the resin around. I do. You should have pinched one of Vicky's spatulas. Tipper, how much time do you get to muck about? I get about an hour. So that's with this particular stuff. They say 55 minutes pot life. But as I said at the beginning of the show, whatever resin you have, that's great. You just work with whatever instructions they give you. I was thinking maybe I should have just got my concrete float from out the shed to do this part. But I think we'll be okay. Okay, we're going okay down this side. So I've got to make sure when I'm putting it on, it gets into all of these little valleys and everything that the machine made. I've got to come over that side for this. There's still enough depth where it's ponded in the middle. Oh, beautiful. Okay, so was that information that I gave you guys about the router lift and the Triton router, was it any beneficial to anyone? Like, had you kind of been wondering how it works if you owned a Triton router and thought, well, you know, how the hell am I going to use it in the lift? I've got to get underneath there all the time to do stuff, which is how I was thinking all the time. That's why when I did all this research, I thought I'd just let you know and give you the links as well. This is good. Of course, it'd be good if it sticks. Oh, that's the trick. You know, if I finish it, there's a couple of little bubbles, but I'm going to pop those later. If I finish it, and it looks like, oh, it hasn't kind of washed out to where I want it to go. This stuff just keeps on moving. It's fluid, and it will just keep on covering, pushing out if it's level. Now this one, as I say, this one isn't. There's a little dip in the center, and I knew it was there. Out to that corner. We're nearly done. Got a bit of a splinter there. Down this side. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't try pushing it out with the skewer. I would have been here for a month of Sundays instead of just one. All right, you know what? I think I'm just about done. Right, what I'm going to do next Right, now, whilst it looks a little patchy at present, I'm going to put it to the side. Another one. I'm going to put it to the side over here where it's dead level, and put that there out of the way. I've got to move this other camera, so I'm going to switch the cameras back again. Right, okay. This one back up to about here. I think that camera should work all right now. I'm going to flick it over to the other side. Give me a sec. All right. Here it comes. Up to here. Now I did say, let me see if I can get that showing a little bit better for you. How's that working? Yeah, kind of all right. All right, like that. Okay, what I've got here, painter's pyramids. I'm going to put them around it, and I've got to cover it because dust comes up like nobody's business on this stuff. So I've got another sheet of melamine that I'm going to put over the top. That's where it's going to sit. So that'll be my shroud. Back to the main camera. There we go. The AEG has a barrel body. Okay, so if you want to get the Craig lift, by all means, use that, or the Jessam, and go with those. Yeah. All right, so what have we got here? You're right there, Phoebe. Russell, Russell, they tend to be heavy. The locking of the collet was a selling point. I hadn't thought about the switch though. Yeah, so I'm going to use 2 spanners above, just like I used to all the time. It's mounted in the lift. It's going to be a lot easier to crack it. It's the same as when I'm changing on the CNC. I use the I use 2 spanners to crack the ER20 collet on that. There we go. I'm looking forward to see how that comes up, and I know that there'll be some areas that will repel it a little bit, so I've just got to go in there and just tidy it up in about another hour or so. It's amazing. You can push this stuff in another 2 hours and it will still, like it peaks up and sits there and you think, oh my God, I've had it. And it will then slowly form back in. It's just very slow. It's like glass. Glass is a fluid, you know, it keeps on moving. 400 years old, and glass in Holland, I think I was told when I was at school, they had these windows in Holland that were 400 years old, and the top was wafer thin, and down the bottom it had kind of swollen out to be thicker. All right, tipper, hair and dust particles the like on a foam glass protector looks perfectly clean until there's always something makes it weigh 100, of course. Mr. PJG, hello Dave, best wishes from Cambodia. Well, hello, how are you? Wayne, funny on the picture, it looks like the red is bleeding. Okay, Anthony, hi Dave. If your orbital sander is clean, use it to vibrate under the table. What a great idea. Thank you so much. It is. It's a Festool sander. Of course it's clean. You just ask them. I've got to grab a little bit more to drink. 2:15. We're doing okay. All right, next viewer's project. So we've got Andrew White. Here's some of my lockdown projects. I'm only 13, by the way, he's told me. Here we go. This is the first one. So this is a box that Andrew's made. And then we're going to go to the next picture. This is inside, and I think there's black felt that he's got in there that goes down the sides and across the bottom. So he's put all that felt in. And then we go to the next one. He's got the lid open so we can see it all. It's got a piano hinge across the back. I think this is great. And some spoons. Good on you, Andrew. And what else have we got here? a little tote box for all his beer. I thought you said you were only 13, buddy. A little opener on the end. I think that's fantastic. And it's, is that Japanese beer? Anyway, and the last one is that a skateboard, mate? Put some comment in there, Andrew, if you're watching. What'd you think of that? A round of applause for Andrew. Good on you. I think it's fantastic. Young people getting involved with this kind of stuff. Obviously he's not hanging around on a computer or a laptop or whatever. He's out in the shed making things. And I reckon that's great. All right, next one is Fred Peterson. So Fred, here we go. This is a project from Fred. He says, "Hi Dave, how are you? I'm thinking about building my own wooden plane. I'm not a very experienced woodworker, but I've been at it since I was a kid. I've been known to take on projects I didn't think I could do, and as they have turned out better than I expected." I reckon that's great. Look at this. Probably alcoholic-free beer. Oh, I don't know, Derek. Might be. What's the rest of the thing here? It says, "I would like to build my plane out of the best wood for the project I can get in my region. What would the best hardwood for me to be using, considering the US is my region?" Now, in the meantime, Fred's got back to me, and I told him that all the stuff that I used on mine was Australian timbers mostly. So he's going to go with Purple Heart, which I think will make a really nice plane. Okay, he says, "I've attached a couple of pics of my modest workshop and a couple of recent projects over the past couple of months. Also plan on becoming a patron in the near future." Well, thank you very much, Fred. Thanks for taking the time to consider my question and providing your thoughts for it. And there we go, there's another shot. Thank you for all you do to keep us interested. Let me have a look here. "Good work, Andrew," from John. "Lost wits, well done. Just remember, in Australia, if you're under 18, it's not illegal if you make your own beer." Is that right? Box has a nice cameo finish to it. Excellent. I'll come back up to the top. Come back here. All right. What was the other thing we were going to do? I've spoken about the router and mounting, and why, if you want to go the router lift way, it's going to cost you more dollars, obviously, straight away. If you've got a Triton router, you can do all that. Just mount it to a plate. I've been doing it for years, and work with that system. But the thing is, I had to go under the table every time, unlock it, raise it all the way up. So if I had it set at a certain height, I was kind of stuck to be able to get back to exactly the same height. And then undo it, change the cutter, lower it back down, lock it, turn the switch on by pushing the plastic cover out of the way of the switch, then turn it on, then start the thing from outside. Now that all works, but if you get lazy, or if you want to do a lot of quick change, well then I think the collet extension is a good idea. It's a 1/2 inch to 1/2 inch, so you can still put 1/4 inch reducing collets inside, like the bush, whatever you want to call it, and it's fine. Some people have said that they thought that they'd get a bit of vibration from it. I haven't experienced it. I've used them before in other people's router tables and they've been fine. And reading the reviews on Amazon, a lot of the people saying they just work brilliantly. It saves them a lot of headache. So something to think about. As I say, you've got local stores. You can get them from Carbatech if you want to. I think they sell them. CMT is a kind of a worldwide company anyway in Italy, and they're all producing again. You can use my links if you want through Amazon Australia or Amazon USA, whatever you want to do. If it's convenient for you to get it online and there's no postage for you, do it. If you're a Prime member for Amazon, it's free postage, and it's cheaper in the first place. That's why I threw the link up. All right, what do we got? Okie Dog, hello from Oklahoma. G'day, buddy. Bypass the inbuilt switch and fit a no volt to the body of the table. Correct, a no volt release switch. And that's, if you have a look, I just sent the video up to Carbatech that I did for them on their benchtop router table. So if it should be going onto their YouTube channel probably Monday or Tuesday, and have a look at it. It's the features and benefits video. basically it's just a quick spiel, 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes, something like that. I just talk you through its features. I'm doing the build video at the moment because it's got a lot of exactly the same stuff that the tall professional router table's got in it. This is the benchtop table and the professional table, very, very similar in a whole lot of the stuff. It's exactly the same stuff in it. I'm going to be putting that in, a little note on it saying, from here on in, this is all the professional table, but it all is exactly the same on the benchtop. So it's well worth, even though I do rate myself, it's well worth watching because, as I say, when I do these videos, I get so involved in the machine, and if anything is a little headache, I try and point it out straight away. So it might save you a few minutes or a few hours if you watch these things, if you're in the market for these things. I'm not saying get rid of your router table now and run out and buy a new one. I'm not saying that at all. If you're in the market for one, have a look, buy whatever you want to. I haven't got your arm up behind your back. And you know that I don't put their videos on my channel. This is totally a contract for Carbotech. All right, where are we up to? I think the video is running fine. Where are we? 11:52, 52 minutes in. I'm going to have another look. I'll switch the cameras over and we'll have a look in there. And Pro Carpenter nearly beat me for putting an extension into the router. It was always against them. Well, there you go. They do make the armature taller, basically. You know, you're putting a little bit more effort on the bearings. But, you know, I think they're only 2.5 inches long, so they only extend the chuck by another 1.5 inches, I think. Have a look. Have a look at them online and work out what you want to do. All right, I'm going to switch over to the other camera, the white one, and let's see what's happening under there. Okay, we're getting a little bit of a vacant area here and here. So I've got my paddle that I'm going to keep over this side, and I'm going to go very slowly. It's just pulling back off it ever so slowly. Oh, it feels just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit thicker. Just a touch. Good. And there's a bit there. This one that I did last night was very similar to how this one's looking at the moment. I can hear in the back of my mind Phoebe saying, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. Those bits that he's having to push it back over are going to keep on repelling. And you may well be right, Phoebe. You may well be right. We'll see what happens. So I'm a little bit of a stubborn kind of a person. If I haven't done it myself and I haven't made my own mistakes, I don't think it's been worthwhile doing. And the other thing is, once this has been poured, this has gone off, I can then do another pour over the top in those areas if I want to tidy it up. If there's parts that have repelled it too much, I can give that a tiny, tiny sand. That's looking pretty good. And there's not much in there as far as other things. As I said, there's a dip in this. I know this top that I'm here on is dead flat, but there is this dish. Sorry, there is this dish in the melamine, and I don't know why. But I'm going to leave that for a little while, and we'll come back to it next week. I'll let everyone know how it went, or maybe I'll put a post on Facebook. But that's looking very, very nice for the moment. I'll come back to that after the Zoom meeting. All right, where are we? Okay, good effort, Andrew. Keep them coming. John, let's hit the thumbs. Paul, stay safe. You too, Paul. All right, so I'm guessing Paul's sick of watching me pour out the resin. And it's 11:56. I am going to just quickly read through the rest of it here. I think that's it, guys. Down to here. And again, thanks for watching. Look after yourselves. Be nice to each other. I'm going to do another midweek, and then hopefully that's at 9 o'clock Australian Eastern Standard Time. And then next Sunday for us in Australian Eastern Standard Time, fingers crossed, this will be full HD stream. Won't that be lovely? Okay, I'm going to have a little bit of a break, and then I'll come back to the Zoom meeting. Thanks for watching. I'll see you later. Bye.